Judge Matthysse, who, by the way, is the second judge who have came out and stated that they believe that Nolan Walls was murdered, the police is botching the investigation, and this accidental drowning nonsense is horse-ish. If this was Judge Joe Brown, a lot of people would probably take this with a grain of salt, but this is Judge Matthysse. Judge Matthysse is not this super lunatic. No, he is pretty fair. He's somebody who is pretty rational. He has made his reputation on being a fair person. He has made his reputation on decades of ruling with discernment, having to have good discernment in ruling these cases. And if this man is coming out and saying something isn't smelling right, and he's saying with his entire chest he believes Nolan Walls was murdered, then this is not something we can take lightly.
The case, can you break it down?
Yeah, certainly. Nolan, a black man, went on a boat ride to a pretty much resort island, not necessarily, just a fun island off the coast of Mississippi. And 4 of them left and went and had fun, and only 3 returned. They then found Nolan dead. His 3 friends that he had come with in the boat had gone and left in the boat and claimed that Nolan stayed behind by himself. And additionally, however, and this is where the first question comes in with me, they say he left his cell phone. They have his cell phone. They had it in their possession. Okay, so if your buddy says to you, I'm leaving, you all go back. I'm staying by myself. No friends, just me wandering around. And then you see that he had left his cell phone. So you say, in the boat. And instead of taking it back to a friend who's on the island by himself, and by the way, did you ask him how he was getting home? So instead of going back, you couldn't be that far off because the phone right in the boat. Say an hour or 2. If you're a real friend, you'll drive back on that recreational hour or 2 on the boat having fun to give your man his phone.
Here's the understated part about this Nolan Walls situation. This Nolan Walls situation is about common sense. You see, the bad faith people, the grifters, like for example, Officer Tatum, they would want you to believe that certain things that can't be answered because we were not there is proof that nothing nefarious happened with Nolan Walls. Yeah, we don't know the answers to certain things because we weren't there. We aren't the suspects, okay? We're not suspects in this. We're just somebody who's hearing out both sides of this story and telling you something here does not make sense. But you'll have literal race hustlers like Brendan Tatum, who have made his career off of hustling race, call out people like Judge Matthysse with decades of experience in the justice system, with decades of experience in figuring out when people is lying, with decades of experience in calling cases. They'll want you to believe that Judge Matthysse is a race hustling grifter for simply pointing out something doesn't smell right here. Somebody is lying, and based off of his expertise, if it appears that Nolan Walls was murdered. But at the very least, an independent investigation needs to be done here. But these race hustlers will tell you, like, completely ignore decades of experience for whatever they have to say.
I gotta say something real quick. Benjamin Crump should be ashamed of himself. Al Sharpton should be ashamed of themselves. I'm right here in Mississippi. It's crazy that I had to fly down here to even get this information. They've been lying on these boys. I got evidence, and I'm gonna show it to you, and I'm gonna lay it out for you. It is a shame that that boy Nolan did not get the respect that he deserved. In my opinion, they turned his death into a racial thing, destroying the community. You name it, they did it. And we got evidence that it wasn't just 4 boys with him. We got evidence that they asked Nolan to get back on the boat and he refused to because he grown. We got evidence that the boys reached out to the parents, that Benjamin Crump and them didn't refuse to reach out to these boys. And I've talked to them. I've seen the evidence with my own eyes. I've seen that there was more than just 4 people. There was 3 boats full of kids. I know that they left and they had nothing to do with this. And instead of them saying, and standing up for these boys and saying, look, we don't know what happened. We want justice for Nolan. These boys didn't have no involvement. Instead, they want to make it about race. And it is a shame. And I'm so heated, man. I went out to Horn Island. We got all the video. We got the interviews. The boys wanted to talk to me because I'm the only one there to give them a voice, because everybody else is fake, fraudulent, looking out for themselves. And it's a shame, man. It's a shame. Nolan deserved better than what they did. They out here hoodwinking, trying to raise money and make stuff about race, and they have no evidence. They lied about the phone getting deleted. It's a shame, man. But y'all finna find out, and a lot of y'all gonna have to apologize for the stuff that you said.
So let me get this straight, okay? They told the police they didn't have any new information that was not already out there. They told the family they didn't have any new information that wasn't out there. The story that came out was, hey, we left at about 4. All right, we left the island completely at about 4:30. We was completely gone from the island. And we had his phone because he left the phone on the boat, but he told us he was staying back to talk to a girl. That was the story. They came out and says that that's the story and they have no other information. But somehow now Brandon Tatum, the greatest race hustler, is now saying that they provided him extra information. They provided him the information they claim they did not have, and this new information is going to solve something. Or is Brandon Tatum saying that the exact same details they already put out about leaving at 4 p.m. is just going to get reinforced? Yeah, no duh. That's the entire like concentration of this particular investigation. Y'all came on quote unquote 3 boats. Yeah, but Nolan Walsh was on 1 boat. One man can't ride 3 boats at the same time, buddy. He was on 1 boat, and that boat was with his homies that he came with. And those homies left him. While the girl is claiming that he told her he was going to go with them, but they're claiming he said he was going to stay with the girl. There's contradictions here. So I truly hope these folks didn't say, we don't have any new information to give you guys, and then didn't give the police nor the family the new information, but give it to Brandon Tatum. It doesn't make sense here. And I'm gonna tell you guys right now, you know who I'm believing, right? If I had to make a decision on who to believe, Brandon Tatum, the race hustler, or Judge Matthysse, you know who I'm probably gonna ride with the actual judge with decades of experience in the legal system, and not an anti-black tap dancing sellout, right? Who's been disparaging black folks for damn near a decade as well.
Because if he's out there by himself, no question about it, 90% white in the state of Mississippi that has a history of demonizing and black men and killing them in the civil rights era. Most of the civil rights killings occurred in Mississippi, including Medgar Evers, including our dear young brother from Mississippi who was killed, and several others. And so we know that Mississippi has a history of demonizing and marginalizing black men. And so the question became, what is the investigation going to be? Well, the police immediately accepted the version of the 3 young men that returned. Now, here you are, you're supposed to be the police. And I just deduced it. And I deduced it not just now, but I had deduced it immediately after seeing it in the media. And I'm not an investigator, I'm a lawyer and a judge, but an investigator, that is a police investigator / detective, has investigative techniques that would have immediately thrown into question what occurred, and common sense throws into question what occurred. And that's where we're at now. And there's some actions being taken by Ben Crump. I've spoken with him and he's on top of it. And the family has the questions raised. Again, why would he leave his cell phone? Because it had to be voluntary. And then voluntarily stay on an island by himself without telling them why. A lot of questions there, a lot of holes in it, and that's what that grand jury is going to look into. That's the good news.
Yeah, that definitely don't make no sense. So why would he give his phone to his friend? And I heard that his mom, she had to find out by using an app that his friend had his phone after it was reported that he was missing.
Very suspicious, correct. And then there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of unanswered questions. There's allegedly an altercation that took place, and I think they say there may be some footage of it. Some have been AI generated, various things, so we don't really know what's true or not. But I think they have eyewitnesses, and that's where the investigation should go. Were there eyewitnesses that saw any type of altercation?
It's a damn if you do, damn if you don't situation, okay? If you just sit by and allow them to feed you any type of story, they're gonna take it. These folks is gonna take whatever story they're receiving and they're not gonna do their investigation. They're not gonna look much further. It would take pressure. Now, when you start putting pressure on the police, when you starting a literal movement surrounding your son who was found dead inexplicably with no explanation whatsoever, they tell you you are race hustling. They tell you you are somehow putting the lives and the livelihoods of Nolan Wall's friends at risk, when the family has never said Nolan Wall's friends murdered him. All they said was things look suspicious and they want a private investigation. So you are a race hustler if you call out, again, the inconsistency. Yo, do you know that these people had an issue? They had an issue with Nolan Wall's family in Al Sharpton putting up $100,000, $100K, for any information that leads to an arrest and a conviction of someone who murdered Nolan Wells or anything in connection to Nolan Wells' death. Not even a murder, right? Because it could be accidental. They put up $100,000. Now, these people never said any names. They never pointed any fingers. They just say, yo, we got $100,000 if anybody has any information that leads to an arrest or a conviction. These people still got a problem with that. My only question is, why are y'all so upset and so angry that the family is seeking answers? They're not, they say, we got $100,000 for anybody with information. Now that's a problem as well.
Justice for Nolan Wells.
Nolan Wells deserved a lot more than what they provided. Nolan Wells' friends should have been able to be there at his funeral. But because they're pushing racism, the boys couldn't even show up out of fear of somebody killing them. While I was here, one kid got a package in the mail with powder on it with a death note on it to his house. These boys are getting doxxed and death threats and people showing up at their houses. No evidence whatsoever. I think that I'm telling you, I think the family should sue the living daylights out of them. But Al Sharpton and the hoodwinkers went to this boy's funeral and offered $100,000 for information that leads to the arrest of a suspect in the Nolan Wells case. Roll the clip.
I'm not only saying we don't want nothing. I want to say right here now, and I'm inspired by who accused us of that I want to put up from National Action Network and me, I want to offer a reward of $50,000 to anybody. I want to put a reward up for $50,000 for anybody that could give the information that will lead to an arrest and a conviction in the case of what happened.
I'll tell you why this is problematic. Because at this point, we do not have evidence that there was something nefarious that happened, that there was some suspect. All we have right now with the information that's been provided is that his death is either inconclusive or there's no signs of foul play. Why are you interjecting race and interjecting issues into a case that don't already have issues?
They said nothing about race. So somebody black could have done it. All they're saying is, we want to put up this money for anybody who have any information. This is to incentivize. This is routine, right? This is routine. People go missing all the time and end up dead. nobody ever has any problem with them saying, yo, here's money for anybody with any information. But somehow when they do it, it's a problem, right? They start off by saying, Benjamin Crump and Al Sharpton, they just here to grift. They're just here to make money off the black community. Okay, cool. Now Al Sharpton saying, hey, we got 50,000. Somebody else is matching his 50,000 to make 100,000. So now they're giving 100,000 of their own money, and that's still a problem. So it's a problem when they get involved to get Nolan justice and to find out what happened to Nolan. All of a sudden, they grifting, they race hustling, they're trying to make money off a tragedy. Now they are putting up their own money. They're giving more money than they have received. And now it's an issue. Man, all right, man. Y'all let me know in the comment section, what do you guys think about this, okay? You know, if you're still watching this video, man, and you want to watch another good video, click on this video right here somewhere on my screen, somewhere here, or here, or here, somewhere on my screen to find out, man, why exactly, all right, DJ Academics got the worst phone call of his life today. I'm going to see you guys in this DJ Academics video. I'm out of here, folks. Peace.